We're here for the first in a 52-part series as we journey week by week through the Daily Laws by Robert Greene. What I will be doing in this series, which will be in tandem with a series on the Daily Stoic, a weekly vlog sort of thing for the Daily Stoic, as well as the Daily Laws by Robert Greene, trying to kickstart my year, hoping to maybe kickstart a little bit of a different life for myself. I will be picking one entry each week and making a video on it, hoping that if you are joining me on this series, this is to work in tandem with the book, not to replace it. Robert Greene is absolutely indispensable, and you will absolutely feel the power of his writing if you join in on this. Now, the first entry here January 1st, I work overnights. So though this is going up January 2nd, I am still on my New Year's. That is a testament to how much I am looking forward to this series. Robert Greene is indispensable, and that we have a daily reader for Robert Greene is something that I never saw coming, having judged from some of his other works. But yeah, I am very excited for this series. The use of a daily reader, trying to kickstart something for myself, and hopefully if you are along with this, trying to kickstart something for yourself, will be hopefully almost as immediate for you as it has been for me. And I want to get into this. So the entry for today is Discover Your Calling. We get a quote from Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. Everyone holds his fortune in his own hands. Like a sculptor, the raw material he will fashion into a figure. But it's the same with that type of artistic activity as with all others. We are merely born with the capability to do it. The skill to mold the material into what we want must be learned and attentively cultivated. Therefore, the daily law for this day is mastery is a process, and discovering your calling is a starting point. For me, the reason that I chose this entry to make a video about is that I think my life has gotten away from me in this regard, a great deal. This series will be more introspective than most of the stuff I do. So if you were here by chance but not design, I also run a channel called Stripped Cover Lit, where I talk about literature, poetry, short stories, novels, a little bit of writing stuff. I try to avoid talking about myself on that channel as much as possible, and most of the stuff here I don't really talk about myself, but I think that the only way to really make a series on something like this is going to be introspectively, is going to be almost in a vlog type style, and I feel my life has gotten away from me in this type of a regard. I feel a very large disconnect between my job and meaning. So I am someone who often talks about the dichotomy between your job and your work. There is an old phrase, I believe it is attributed to Mark Twain, whether or not that is apocryphal, I can't be sure. Something like this, the way to live a good life is to make your vocation your vacation. Not all of us live in that world, right? Not all of us are in the place where we are enjoying what we do, that we feel a calling from our job. I'm in that place, right? I don't feel that my job is my work. I refer to my work, this channel, Strip Cover Lit, approaching 1,500 videos there. I'll hit 1,500 videos sometime this year talking about literature, my writing. Those are the things that I feel are my work. My job is where I go to pay the bills. My job is where I go to put food on the table. For me, there is a very large disconnect between my job and my work. If you took me out of my job, probably you could train a monkey to to do it. The monkey would have to be a monkey without a lot of pride. The monkey would have to be a monkey that does not take his monkey self too terribly seriously. The monkey would have to dance on demand. The monkey would have to believe that doesn't matter a whole lot. That's the type of job I feel I work. And I think there's a lot of people in that same fashion. I'm not here in a pity me, woe is me type of situation. The only reason that I'm talking about this in this fashion is I think a lot of people are in that same place. In fact, we get in the entry to this a very saccharine Robert Greene. So he is doing at the beginning of each month, it looks like, I haven't journeyed forward in this, but sort of a mission statement for the month itself. For January, we get this: your life's task, planting the seeds for mastery. Quote, all of us are born unique. This uniqueness is marked genetically in our DNA. We are a one-time phenomenon in the universe. Our exact genetic makeup has never occurred before, nor will it be repeated. For all of us, this uniqueness first expresses itself in childhood through certain primal inclinations. They are forces within us that come from a deeper place than conscious words can express. They draw us to certain experiences and away from others. As these forces move us here or there, they influence the development of our minds in very particular ways. End quote. Now, there is a bit of science, and I'm sure Robert Greene is aware of this, that it goes a little bit deeper than that. Our experiences, our environment can turn off or on different parts of our genome. So, one of the things that worries me, I feel that this creative bug in myself, much like Robert Greene did, I feel that this creative bug in myself is what I was supposed to do. I don't think, so when I don't create, when I have no creative outlet for a particular period of time, I start to feel like my skin is on fire. What I worry about is that when that gets beaten down by the world, when that gets beaten down by society's process, when that gets beaten down by the fact that there is such a large disconnect between my work and my job, that part of the genome can get turned off. Now, I don't know that they have identified anything in the genome that is particularly creatively inclined. But if you listen to any psychologist, they'll tell you some people are creative, some just aren't. Jordan Peterson talks about that a lot. Some people are creative, some people just are not. Some people are industrious, some people just are not. And I do worry that if I get too far away from that point, from that part of myself, that part of the genome will turn off. Look, if you had told me when I was 20 that at 38 I'd be doing basically the same thing with my life, I think I would have opted out. I don't think I would have taken that journey. I think I would have gone ahead and got off the ride. What is the possibility of change versus what is the probability of change? I think that's a very large part of what we're dealing with in this entry here. Robert Greene says, you possess a kind of inner force that seeks to guide you towards your life's task. The first move towards mastery is always inward, learning what you really are, and reconnecting with that innate force. What is the probability of change versus what is the possibility of change? Look, so the title here is Discover Your Calling. I think I'm a little bit past that point. I think I have it discovered. I don't know that I have it identified. What do I mean by that? So here's how I feel about it. Imagine you're a quarterback. You know the guys on your team. You know the color of jersey to which you will be throwing the ball. Where I feel that I am stuck is I don't know to which wide receiver I'm going to be throwing the ball. So the daily law here is mastery is a process and discovering your calling is the starting point. I think I'm at the point where I have to pick that wide receiver and let it rip. But where do you have to be in order to make that leap? Where do we sacrifice predictability for freedom? Where do we make that leap? Predictability and being able to eat, or freedom and doing your calling? If you are not in the place where your vocation is your vacation, there's going to be a point where you have to make a leap of faith. So, I mean, you can listen to all of the David Gogginses of the world. You can listen to all of the Eric Thomases of the world, all of the Ty Lopez's of the world, all of the Grant Cardones. If you want to listen to Grant Cardone, I, Alex Hermosi, any of these guys, and you'll hear all these stories about, man. One of the things that almost invariably these people will say is there's this sort of almost foreboding prediction of regret. I knew that if I didn't make that leap, at some day I would look back at 50 years old and I would say, hey, I regret my life. But here's the thing. They made the leap and landed on their feet. If you make the leap and you don't land on your feet, probably you don't see 50. Now, you were without that existential dread of regret, sure, but you're also not there at 50. You don't hear about the guys that didn't make it. They don't have YouTube channels dedicated to them. How do you know when it's time to make the leap? At what point, how much runway do you give yourself? And here's the last thing I want to say with this. So, I guess not terribly long ago, Robert Greene had a stroke. And one of the other things that I'm trying to do in this series, like, he'll never see this, I understand that. But I think that you die two deaths, right? You die the day that you take your last breath, and you die the last time that your name escapes someone's mouth. The last time someone thinks about you. That's the second time you die. I'm a big believer in giving someone their flowers while they're still alive. Robert Greene is incomparable. Robert Greene is irreplaceable. Obviously, the other work that Robert Greene has done will live much longer than this series on YouTube, whatever. But this is my way in doing my part to perpetuate Robert Greene. If you have not read Robert Greene, absolutely worth the journey. This book so far is very saccharine for Robert Greene. So if you are not familiar with Robert Greene, who is Robert Greene? Why do I say that? Robert Greene wrote the 48 Laws of Power. He wrote the 50th Law with 50 Cent, the 33 Strategies of War. These are books that are often banned from prisons. Because if you were to run a test experiment, a case test for those types of books, To gauge their effectiveness, it would be a prison-like situation. And it turns out they're pretty effective. They do pretty good. So the type of writing that Robert Greene normally does is maybe a little bit counter to what we have so far in this book. I'm not against it. It's just a little bit surprising to see. Robert Greene, I don't know that I've seen too much rah-rah from Robert Greene, and so far this book is very rah-rah, but having a daily reader for Robert Greene is something to which I am very much looking forward, and I hope you join me on this journey. If you've made it nearly 16 minutes into this video, I think the odds are pretty favorable that you'll be back, hopefully. And if not for me, for Robert Greene, right? The book I imagine is going to be irreplaceable. So that's all I have for this video. If you like or appreciate what I do here, hitting the like button really does help me out, as it tells YouTube to share this video. And if you find yourself here by chance but not design, hitting the subscribe button to stick around for stuff like this means that I hope to see you in the next one.